Nobody wants to be the guinea pig when testing a new idea, but the more you lower that initial investment, the more agreeable people become. Hi all, Hank from Right to Real here. Most of you know, I'm a fan of the contained as it relates to selling a script. Reducing the cost of your project increases the number of potential buyers. More buyers means better chances for a sale. That's something to shoot for, right? Examples of contained scripts. Ryan Reynolds stuck in a coffin buried 6 feet under. Contained thriller. Sam Rockwell stuck on a base on the moon. Contained sci-fi. 2 clerks sitting around making jokes in a New Jersey convenience store. Contained comedy. People imprisoned in a room forced to torture or even kill other people to gain their freedom. Contained horror. The word contained can span all genres, and here are a few elements to include that keep your reader engaged regardless of limited locales. Number 1. Fill in the blank information. By this we mean showing alternate versions of the truth or just parts of it. Our characters need certain kernels of the truth before taking that first step on their quest, but they should never have all of it until you're wrapping things up right before fade out. A voicemail message laced with static, a torn photo, etc. all give us part of the story, but not all of it. This is important because if the main character is led to believe someone or something is guilty, we'll believe it, and will judge that guilty character accordingly. Then you can throw us for a loop at the end, finding out the true reason behind what happened. That's when we're surprised and more often than not, entertained. Number 2. A required task. Giving a character something that needs doing and allowing him or her not to do it. Example, a ticking time bomb, whether real or a metaphor. This made me think of that overdone of all thriller brands, Saw. The setup? People hurting or killing others to gain freedom before they themselves are killed. The solution is simple, yet in this case, our humanity gets in the way. It doesn't have to be a choice either. Perhaps one character is locked outside of a room with an item another character needs to stop a vital flow of oxygen. If a door was open, it'd be an easy task, but the door's not open, and the windows are shatterproof. How are we to get in there and to save the other character before he or she suffocates? Number 3. Distractions. At a critical moment, reversing the trajectory of a scene by way of a scream, gunshot, etc. Have you ever attended a murder mystery? We've just tracked down another dead character and have the maid holding a bloody knife. Suddenly, there's a scream from the parlor and we rush out to see who it is. Miss Peacock is dead on the floor, but we were with the maid the whole time. Is the maid really guilty? Is she working with someone? This trick is another fantastic way to keep your audience on the edge of their seats or your reader flipping pages. We all want to solve the mystery, so by getting closer to one problem only to produce another one, we can't help but keep going because we need to know it all. Number 4. Blind luck information. Sometimes our characters can stumble onto a clue. The trick here is to make it subtle and almost always have it raise more questions than it does answers. Whether a dead body, a weapon, a way out, all of them feasible, but none of them should lead to complete freedom or safety. Use your judgment and balance things here properly. Making information too convenient leads to a grumbling audience or a bored reader. Number 5. Withholding information. A character says the equivalent of, "This changes everything," and then doesn't tell us why or how. This adds tension, which is always good for drama and dialogue, especially between characters that don't understand how it changes everything. On top of that, if you can come up with a worthy reason for that character to withhold the information, like an accidental death before the big reveal, you've just given your story a leg up on other amateur specs. Number 6. Camouflaged items. Taking a familiar object and calling it by a more complex name. A rose is a rose is a rose, unless it isn't in this particular universe. Think about the world of Harry Potter. There, everyday objects have alternate functions or are imbued with magical properties. For instance, a character could say, "That's no simple wall, it's a portal." We know what walls are. We have a good idea what portals are too. What we don't know is how these two overlap, and now we have to find out through the adventures of your characters. Number 7. Highlight the details. Taking an ordinary object or action and drawing excessive attention to it. This makes me think of a magician using misdirection. Look over here, look over here, look over here! All the while his assistant is climbing under the tablecloth and out of sight. Here characters can sometimes focus on the solution to the problem that might not even be a real solution. Maybe we're only given part of the information. Maybe that information's been misinterpreted, or maybe another character just lied. Instant success never comes early. If we're working to achieve a goal, but right as we open that door to freedom we find a brick wall behind it, things get intense. Obviously, you can't leave your story there, but it's a great way to escalate the tension, which translates to readers that keep reading. Anytime you call extra attention to an element in your script's world, the reader will file it away as an expected payoff for later. Then, when you reward him or her with the reason why that object or action was important, he or she will be satisfied in your writing abilities. Word of warning here. If an object is unimportant, don't call attention to it. It will lead to trouble in the end. Number 8. Layered information. Making one thread in your story easy to find out so that another more important thread might be missed. Say the maid is the killer, and you caught her red-handed. All the clues were there, but you never noticed that all those times the butler was actually missing too. Was the maid in cahoots with them? Or did the butler frame her based knowing her schedule? This little trick gives your readers just enough to initially feel smart, but they'll want to know for sure and keep reading. When you include more that's going on behind the scenes, you'll leave a lasting impression. That aha moment should tie everything together before fade out, both the easy parts the reader guessed and the more covert plans they might have missed. Number 9. That's impossible. Presenting evidence to a character in your story which is flatly contradicted by what the character knows to be the truth. Perhaps a family relationship is suddenly called into question, a solution that defies logic or physics. The possibilities here are numerous, and making the clues go against everything the character knows and believes makes for internal and external drama, depending on how large your cast is. The point to remember here is that impossible information must be related to the truth. A character can misunderstand it early on, but by the end things need to make sense, both to them and to us. No points are given to a writer who ends his story with, "It's true because I say it is." The facts must be supported throughout your story. Number 10. Interrupting the action. A technique often employed when novelists end a chapter, but it works for screenwriting too, provided you have at least 2 characters and/or locations. Although not a contained script, this element was employed by the Oscar award-winning film Spotlight, something we reviewed on our website recently. Leaving your audience hanging will not only create suspense, they will also appreciate your talent as a storyteller. Just be sure you're cutting away to something else the reader cares about. If you employ this, make sure to use it consistently. Leaving one character at a tense moment while giving us the payoff with another character, this leads to an enjoyable read. In conclusion, things are never simple in stories. They can be, but they shouldn't. As long as you're doing what's best for your story, that's what's important. Even if you're not sold on the whole contained angle, incorporating a few of these techniques into any plot will enhance your story. However, including some of them becomes a must when you don't have exotic locations and expensive action sequences to rely on. That's what contained is. So, there you have it. Did we miss any elements you would include? Can you list some contained projects that employ these techniques? Feel free to share your thoughts below in the comments. Lastly, if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to come check us out at writetoreel.com for more in-depth discussions in screenwriting. Thanks, and write your butts off.